remember from last time. Like, I had to like go back to my Twitch stream to remember where we left off. But from what I remember, at the end, we were about to give up. We were about to give up, and because we found the carbonated water, we thought there might be poison in it, and there wasn't. So we were about to give up, but then the kimono girl ran in, and she had a package, and we were like, "Holy crap! Maybe this could save me. I don't want to die." Hi, kimono girl. I forgot your name. Well, I understand you're the judicial assistant to the defense, but why is this sudden ingress? But why this sudden ingress into my court? Ha! A judicial assistant and a woman, no less. We hate women. Women. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify. Darn females. Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence I must hand over to the defense. Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded. 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more. But, Your Excellency! I am most grateful. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, but there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. What is it? A report about something? Written in English? It's Giselle Brett's research. The Englishwoman's? After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper. Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of Curer and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Curer? What's that? I've never heard of that. I've never heard that word before. Time's up. The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful, thank you. Jaziel's report has been entered into the court record. Goodbye then, and good luck! You have had long enough, Counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but... The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency? If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer? It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline. Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realized it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. Like, it isn't that way in English too? Shut up, stupid. My apologies, dear lady. So, Counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? Man, like I can get this wrong. I didn't realize I could look at this. Next page. Wait, I should read this out loud. Synopsis. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. Hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Effects. Instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. Route of entry. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full-body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. I see, I see. Ho ho ho. Anyway.
Yes!
Mr. Zalebret, we understand you are studying under Dr. Wilson at Yume University doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison. What? Poison? Where are you going with this, Counsel? A toxin known as Cura, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection!
What complete and utter nonsense? Cura, you say? I've never even heard of it. You wouldn't have. I don't think the done is necessary here. Whatever. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Cura before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. Correct. Which means, no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify Cura. Oh, I forgot about my mouse being on screen. I'll leave it out. It's not there anymore. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What? That's crazy! How could that be? Order, order, order! Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, Cura has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison laced their arrows. It seems it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with Cura suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! These aspersions are utter trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain. The other diners would have surely noticed. No, you're wrong, because it paralyzes them. That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible sign of distress is evidence that Cura was used. Explain yourself, Counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible! Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. With a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. It's paralysis and then instant death, isn't it? The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? Breathing. In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous. To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully to an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly cuirassier poison. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Council, actually contains this terrifying poison?
Objection!
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing? What a happy tale for the defense. Ahem, if I may? All these facts, you think you're so clever? You must be taught some manners. It is you who must be taught. What do you want? Of course. Dear lady! So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? Yeah, we're barbarians. I say that, but I'm not Japanese. What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Okay. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this! I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. Ha ha ha. What's so funny? Oh, excuse me. Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett? May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see, why not. Okay. Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. Why is the perpetrator, like, always super arrogant? Sorry, I have to send a text. Okay, I'm good. Sorry? To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Ha ha ha! Cheers! What did you think she was gonna do? I thought she'd do that. What, you think she poured that just to, like, not drink it? Wait, but what are you doing? I'm poisoning myself! No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Could she not have poisoned him some other way? Was there no other mark on him? I don't know. How did he die? I'm so confused. This is like a complicated case for the very first case. Goodness. Whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned. Why was he okay with pouring that for her? So, no cure. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying? Ha 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 ha. You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Grr. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett? I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Ah, yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell a tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. My stupid little British accent. There has to have been poison in that bottle. Doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Nunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water... It can't contain poison. Okay. Can I look at the evidence? Yes, I can. Yeah, she would definitely be showing. Okay, maybe it's because of the route of entry is different. That's what I was thinking before. It has to be something like that. She had to have, like, administered it some other way, right? Couldn't she have, like, only poisoned the glass and then taken it and put it in here and switched? Yeah. Okay. I don't know, man. Okay. Okay. So it contains no poison. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle. What? Why, Inosuke? Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now. Sometimes your unadulterated naivety really astounds me, but sometimes it's in need of a good staining. Until it's as dark as your uniform in the ways of the world. Oh, is that what this color is supposed to represent? No! Ugh! Oh wait, okay. I think it's saying it could have contained poison because it has to be administered in a different way to have an effect. But like that confuses me so much. There are two choices and it has to be this one now. Okay, what do you want from me, customer? You got mad at me when I did it the other way. Oh, are you blind? There's no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it. That's right, which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How, exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. Okay, okay. Okay, like the only thing I can think of to present is this. Because it says it has to be administered in a different way. This contains everything about the poison. Like, what else am I supposed to show? I don't know. Let's try it.
Yes!
Is he gonna call me stupid?
Objection!
Why not? Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, okay, I just picked a section. Wait, I need to look at what was in each, because I don't remember what it was under. Is route of entry an option? It's easy. No. Rudimentary isn't an option. What's the synopsis? There's the synopsis, the effects, and the practical applications, right? Isn't Rudimentary the only one that helps? I'm really confused what to choose here. Special characteristics, practical applications. Special characteristics? Wait, special characteristics? Oh, that's the whole section! Okay, I can pick that then. I didn't think that was an option. That took a bit. We've been hearing a lot about this Curer poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, Council? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years, to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes? And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, Council. No, that would be madness. I should have brought water. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Oh, okay, I understand now. Because he had his dentistry done before going there, drinking it made it enter the wound because, he had dental work done. So it was a wound inside his mouth, and that's why drinking it made him, die, but it wouldn't make her die because she has no wound in her mouth, but he did. Okay. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When Curer enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research, you knew Curer's special characteristics, and you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. Dun dun dun! You meddling little... Rapscallion! Why is that a real bird? Well, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Thanks, bro! Really? Me? A lawyer? All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I fail to see how it possibly... I love that swan. Why is it real? What's going on there? So the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, Curer is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric suckers. Oh yes, well, of course! Gastric suckers, what are they? So, if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? Yes, I already figured that out, you fool. Ah, that's right. Good gracious. Good gracious, golly me. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? No, don't worry, I've got this. I've got this. It's because he had a dentist appointment before going. Order, order in court, order! The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest? Yes, this cure poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. Look at that ugly little mug. She's lying! She's a liar! What is this welling up inside me? This hate! I haven't experienced hate like this before. Hate! Rage! Disgust! I've never felt like this before. This anger! He's gonna need to go to therapy to figure out how to control his anger after this. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. Never mind. It's so intense, almost rage-like. I got it! And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey! Kill her! Kill her! Kill her!
Objection!
Yes! Why? I don't think so, Mr. Zalbert. How dare you use that tone with me? Why is your mask so huge? You know very well that there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence. As we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested, why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the cure? 'Cause he had a dentist appointment! That's right. I know everything. Everything! This is why, right? I need to examine it. Actually, I don't think. I'll just present it. I'm gonna be confident. You ready?
Take that!
Take that! As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diets. A fatal difference? The difference between having dentist work done beforehand. The toxic effects of cure are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking is completely harmless. However, what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to a dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. What? No way! Ah! Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. Ah! So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Oh me, oh my. Golly goodness. That could not possibly be it. Heh heh heh. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I just can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are also puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. Literally, I don't know why they didn't take that away from her. No! Yes! I mean, it could just slip. Oh no! Bro, butler guy, catch it. Bro, what are you doing? Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. Whoops! I feel like that's almost an admission of her guilt in itself, but, like, you can't just like, take it from that by law, you know? No! No! What is it? What just happened? It's the English woman! She just smashed that bottle! And then the Supreme Court! What a terrible blunder! Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible, at once! You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. Bro! Why? How do you know? I assure you it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. Ha 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 ha! How could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle or not. You! And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady? That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No, you killed the victim that day, using curare. And then, in order to frame Yunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor in his chair around. Okay, that makes sense. I was wondering, like, how did she shoot him if she was behind him? But yeah, why would he be facing the opposite way from the stake? That stake wasn't even his, it was hers. What's going on here? You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime. Heh heh heh. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly! And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Yunosuke Naruhodo. Ugh! This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Yunosuke, yes? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend upon. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. A real life swan, too. Like, what the heck? Is that really allowed in England? Press X to doubt. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. Everything! What I saw, what I felt. Every color. That meat was rare! What? Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of this same scene in my head, could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Oh, there has to be. How else can I survive this, man? There needs to be a clue. Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. Haha, you always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Yunosuke? Come on, then. Let's wipe the smug smile off that Englishwoman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. A clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is... I don't know. Wait. Sorry, I need my mouse. It's this, right? Oh wait, I need to press R for this. Wait, I'm confused about something. Is this not at all in the picture? Yeah, you can't see it at all. I thought just because the picture is black and white doesn't mean this will be gone. But you can't see it at all. This has to be it, right? The blood?
Take that!
Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? He's still miles away. Probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. Well, yeah, it happened right in front of you. You should have grabbed it, man! You should have grabbed it! As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak you took to the victim's table that day.
Objection!
Wait a minute! Where are you going with it? Where are you going with it? Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood. What? Oh really? And what of it? Honestly, I don't know, I just did it. Obviously that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Honestly, I would've... Oh yeah, cause the bullet didn't go all the way through, so it couldn't be! Okay. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind me. Ah! Yes. For blood to have made it onto a plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Does it? I don't know. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Disdale, Brett. I beg your pardon?
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing?
Hold it!
Who said that? Oh, you. This could be the moment that my entire crew and the police force has been leading to. Did you take this take? Inspector, you mean? Yes, I took the plate in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it. Maybe they would have just thought you were hungry. You did what? I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the surgeon had been eating. I did it all in the name of justice. Bro? Oops, my mouse. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now! Inspector! The court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir! Let's go! Sorry for the delay. Here's what you ordered, the steak. Thanks for bringing me my order. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't! Quickly, Inspector, the blood, man! Show the court! Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. Uh, can we like move this plate thing to see if there's blood underneath or something? No, no blood! No blood anywhere! But no, that's impossible! I know I saw it, I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of plate. On the side of plate. Heh heh heh. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. What the heck? Why is it like this? You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. Ah! I couldn't agree more in the case of this disrespect to the Empire. And yeah. Okay. I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. My accent is probably so bad. But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. I'm British. This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest. Oh, let me. Was the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? This is it now. I've lost. Yunosuke, it's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Oh, let me examine it! Let me examine it, please! I object! That bloodstain was going to cinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? It has to! Please! Your Excellency, please wait. This steak of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal a shocking truth.
Objection!
The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beef steak. I need it! Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. Dun, dun. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. Man, this judge is so fair. So weird. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly formed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Yes! Bro, just because we're allied with your country, that doesn't mean that we're gonna let you get away with everything. Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court to what you are alluding. Oh, shoot. There's no blood. What'd I do? What if it all just like pooled over here? Shoot. Shoot. No. I don't know what to present here. I do like this beefsteak. It is pretty nice. Woo woo! What am I doing? Why isn't there bloodstains? I want bloodstains. I don't know. Wait. I can't. This isn't a clue. This isn't either. I'm only allowed to hit the beefsteak. Right? Oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I'm just checking it out. I don't have to present it. cow. This is a symbol of La Carnival, is it? What's... huh? What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoi area, I believe. We found the coin? Why is it here? No, I don't mean what is it. I mean, what's it doing there? The steak is too fresh. Yes, I want to eat it. The Koban coin, like a different person at the restaurant lost it. I don't know what the heck it's doing here. Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. It looks like the coin on the Lucky Cat statues on their forehead. This isn't the first time today there's been talk about a coin. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion and bullion. What the heck? And I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means...
Got it!
Got it? Good gracious, that's... Koban? it's a Koban? What on earth? A Hoi area one at that. How did it get there? I legit thought that somebody just stole it from the guy. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beef steak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Probably. Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat? Oh my gosh! That sounded like a Pokemon noise to me. Is that what swans actually sound like, or did they just like find some random noise to put there? What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want no part of it. I bet any British person would be like so annoyed at my stupid accent. Objection! I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction. No, it's a Koban coin from the Hoi area. That can't be true. Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe this has happened by accident in the kitchen. A rare Hoi Koban just happens to be underneath that piece of steak. Insane. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to the Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel? A rare Hoi Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now. You don't have a lawyer job!
Objection!
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Shut up!
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is... Oh my gosh, I can't do this. Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant. Even though I'm the one on trial here? The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. I have to point out who it is. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beefsteak is... It's, this guy. He lost a miracle. Just in case I'm stupid. It's written right here in front of me.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and the owner of Rasute Curio Korekta-san. Oh my gosh. Curie as in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military surgeon, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened, at exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoi Koban, my prize coin. Then this Hoik or Koban. Do you mean to tell me?
Objection!
No, please. Why would Kurekta-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and his plate? It makes no sense. Okay, yeah, but like the evidence is right in front of your eyes.
Yes!
Yes, you're right! Which is why I'm asking to bring Kurekta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer! Bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. Dang, this trial is so long for the first trial of this game. I can't believe we've come back round that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that's a key element in this case. Okay, I don't know, like, what the heck is going on with this coin. Wow, this stand is so crowded. Oh my gosh. Why is the, like, it's so long, too, like, the wood thing. It's like it was prepared for this. What's this all about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize it's dinner time for little baby Ido? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves. Is he gonna attack you? Is that why you're afraid? 'Cause he's vicious? Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom myself, I became a ruined man in a trice. A worthless, withered antique. He's so dramatic. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this Rasute shop owner's existence. Are you dead now? Be that as it may, Kurekta-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, that's it! The one! The very one! The exact one that it is! The resplendent, splendoriferous Hoei treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplaced that fateful day. It can't be! How does he know? As I thought. Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Okay. Where's my treasure? Where was it dropped? I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices. Sandwich? Soaking? Seriously? Yes. Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident. Which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. Okay, like, literally, why? Why? Was it like the other... Like, was it the military man? He just wanted to steal it, so he put it under there and he was gonna go back and get later? Like, what the heck is going on here? Somebody concealed my Hoei treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Yes, indeed. Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing. Good question. Literally, why? Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation. La Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attacks wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being infected. So that's why you're sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flesh out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there's a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. Was it you? You were working there! The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Kurekta-san's Koban is all too clear. What? What? I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Okay, well, I think it's this guy. But it could be her. Like, there are only so many people at the restaurant. Let's try this one.
Take that!
If I'm wrong, I'll find out. Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Yesanosa? What? How? How dare you? You monster! Monster? I stole that Kuban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? Yep. But it wasn't me, it was Ido. Ido's the master of models. If you knew, why didn't you say so? Their faces. You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nasa. Ah! Clippity clop, clippity clop. What the heck? Ah! Did you just break your back? Oh, I think the baby broke his back. Nippon Army Sergeant Yesanosa, preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. It's nice that you're giving up. Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? Poor veteran. I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. And I have heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant. The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. See, in this game, I guess we just really love our steak. And your target that day was the old man in his Koban? Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the steak I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. Ido too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could. On the double! I slipped it under the steak. Hoping I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time? Well, Miss Brett. Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency? Say no. Indeed. The theft of the Koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled surgeon. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. No! It has to be related! Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Hey, but... okay, what if He hid the koban under his lump of meat and then switched it with her lump of meat. And that's why there's no blood on the thing. Nonsense, is it? Well, oof. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness! Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Yeah? I don't know, I thought she was downstairs. She was on the couch last time I saw her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Don't let her leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day. Objection! You know, Sky, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there's a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. Really? What the? She didn't even say that much. Okay, wait, how do I look at the, T? Literally, where's the contradiction there? It's not day, it's night! I don't know. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard. Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over. Say, objection! Oh, whatever. Wait, Miss Brett! What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. What contradiction? What are you talking about? What contradiction?
Objection!
What new student nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about, Inosuke? Hiding. Oh. This is far back than I thought of. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat, the sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and banging into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness! Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. Wait, I'm thinking. I'm thinking hard. Maybe there's no cutlery. No, there is. But only the knife was used! What? Insane. I'm going to need to see evidence, Counsel. Okay. I just found it. This better be it.
Take that!
The photographic print of the scene taken immediately after the incident occurred? What's interesting is the plate of steak that you can see on the victim's table. It doesn't look like it's been cut. Instead, it was chomped into like an absolute maniac had taken to it. A maniac like that man over there. That horrid man. The military man! More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're just splitting hairs. Not true. Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural? Unnatural? What on earth do you mean? Look at it! Look at it with your special eyes! It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. You're an insane woman. You chomped into it without a fork! Noticed what exactly, Counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself. Then take a good look at this steak. In particular, the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. Disgusting. Ah! Oh. Ah! It looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all!
Objection!
But, what is your actual point? What do you mean? That was my point! Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry and couldn't help her. Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course, this will all be over in a blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Leave him. I've heard enough. Literally, that sounds like a Pokemon cry to me. It sounds like a dragon. I've heard enough, you irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Spectacled. Of course! Dear lady! He's simping. What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks on the steak have for her. Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yeah? Yes. Now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase, typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't been? What? But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
Objection!
This is absurd! The trial has run several rounds already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it.
Objection!
I don't, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Oh no. Okay, I think it's her. Cause like, who else could it be? Who has her steak? It must be her. It must be. Cause like, who else? Literally, who else? Okay. Let's try it.
Take that!
Counsel, I'm disappointed. Oh shoot. Is this the last? Is this wrong? Okay, who then? Is it the waiter? Let's try the waiter. Maybe he has the other, the piece of steak. I don't know.
Take that!
Am I wrong? Everyone's attention has been focused on the steak with the teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nasa told the court the following. I'd enjoyed chomping my way through a good steak, and as well as admitting to stealing Correcta-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak. You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Nasa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak? Tension! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the steak that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was this guy's steak, was in fact Sergeant Nasa's meal.
Objection!
But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table.
Objection!
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal a coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. But you murdering someone's better? Well then, how do you explain this paradox? Exactly! Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks over. Oh, I would never. Ha ha ha. You did switch the plates? Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hid the coin underneath it. But then when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, then that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. That child. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with one on the foreign lady's table. What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done. Unbelievable! Amazing. However, fear not, Prosecutor San. What now? I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform, that is all I did, sir. All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant!
Yes!
So, if Sergeant Nasa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hasanaga. Yes? Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. Oh, I forgot you said that. That to preserve evidence, you'd taken both. Ah! That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment you were shot.
Shut up!
What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat, it can't have the slightest bearing on this case.
Objection!
Then please, let us stare at it. Let us stare at your stupid piece of meat that you ate from. No, you're not wriggling your way out this time, this lady. My goodness. I beg your pardon? Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you. No? Humph, you're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me. The reason the defense asked to see that plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing. Thinks he remembers. I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, There was a clear splattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defense memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you're reading from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beef steak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Yes, sir! He's so ready. He's ready for justice. Sorry for keeping you. There's the blood! Here's the other steak and plate. Please, feel free to examine it. The blood stain. It's clearly visible, look!
Yes!
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim. Ugh! It can't be. In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson to the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. Ugh! That's right, Miss Giselle Brett. It's you! Outdone by a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No, no, no! Darn foreigners! Oh no, the swan! It's going crazy! It has chicks? What is this? How many? Oh, there's a black one! Can I adopt the chicks? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chicks. Okay. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. I think your swan did that, actually. But, whatever you say. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth, this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. I killed him in cold blood, and I hate that man. It was I who took the professor's life using cure. Oh, she really is confessing. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Honestly, I thought that usually after dentist appointments that you couldn't drink anything, even water. I didn't think you could drink water either. But like, maybe I'm wrong. Because curare is unheard of here in Japan. Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water and it would all be over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he'd been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose? Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed, and made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point. So I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. I planned to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happen to know the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of cure in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt? So I was right, there were 2 guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which he had presumably placed on the floor. Place where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, that's when you shot the professor with your own gun, even though at that point he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruto-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor in his chair around. Because, of course, you need to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he had picked up the gun. There we got it. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency. Yes? I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later? Are you gonna kill him too? I shall call on you. Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruto-san. It was just an accident. Oopsies. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement? This can't be! Taketsuchi Aochi does not lose. Not to look at this rookie student! You'd better start getting used to tough opposition. Ah! Yunosuke Naruhodo. What, yes? This insult to the Aochi family name will never be forgotten. You've become conceited with age, Council, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. Oops, my mouse. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. What are you doing? What the heck? Oh my gosh! Why is that allowed? 1,000 millennia may pass, and still, the Aochi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, Yunosuke Naruhodo presented an excellent case. I thank you, Your Excellency. The use of evidence and deduction to unravel a truth is a modern methodology. Oh my gosh, why couldn't I do it the first time? After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what will it look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Sogi. Yes? After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. Do not forgore. Dang, that's so much responsibility. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Ah, never mind. As for you, Yunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, yes? In you I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency. It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Yunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty! Yay! Woo! Now my friend can go to Britain. Britain? This court is now adjourned. Yay! If this is the first case, how many are there? I'm not sure. Okay, usually in a game, there's 3 or 4, I think. It's been a while since I've played the first 3 games. But usually the first one is a lot shorter than the other ones. Because usually in the other ones you can go to a crime scene and investigate and stuff like, and talk to the witnesses and stuff. Like, I don't know. I could probably search it up how many there are for this one. It's a new game. I don't really. It's not that new now. It's like a year or 2 old. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I was not expecting to be so long. Yeah, me neither. I swear. Because this is like my 3rd stream with the first chapter. I expect it to be so much shorter. Because in the trilogy, I've only played the trilogy and like 1 other game. 2 other games, I guess. But like the first trial was much shorter because it was more of like, just like getting you set up to how to play the game, yeah. I made it. I defend myself and made it through that horrendous trial. Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. Ha 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 ha! No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So, you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from place on Yume University Street, don't forget it. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence. I really want to replay this in Japanese, just to see if there are any, like, puns I missed. Now that they didn't change the names. I'm, like, curious if I missed puns or something. You worked hard for that result too, you know? Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much! If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Brett's, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to university and investigate. Your father? Ah, yes, of course. That guy. Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Speaking of Mikotoba, where is he? Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job. Thank you, Professor. I'm curious too, so I'm gonna search up how many cases there are on my phone right here. Look at how broken the case is, by the way. This is really fun. Or like, it's not fun. I didn't do it on purpose. I swear. The great ace. Chronicles. Oh. How'd that happen? I don't know. I dropped it too much. It's supposed to be a case with the battery pack, but now the battery pack like barely works. Ten cases? Dang! That's long! Holy crap. Oh no, it is I who should be thanking you after all. Your efforts exposed the true criminal that took life of my good friend. Yeah, right? 10 cases? And this is how long the first one is? I'm hoping that, like, if it's that long, I hope the story is really nice. Like, I bet it will be, but, like, man. Good friend. Oh yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it? Yes, that's right. Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. I should, like, stream other games too, so that it doesn't get boring only watching this one, if it's that freaking long. 10 cases, man. Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital. Oh, you worked together? I've never heard you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asogi. Asogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world. Man, if I replay this in Japanese, it's gonna take freaking forever. Which is okay, because I'd expect that anyway, but man. I'm gonna be playing this for a billion hours, man. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world. In science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course in law. Because Great Britain is just so cool. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan. You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you? Of course I am! A Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. And cuts down anything that's in my way. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. That reminds me, what's happened to the woman? To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah, yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but... What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit after all. Nah, our system's corrupt. She will be leaving Japan in the very near future for Shanghai. What? Shanghai? Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that. What? But why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Inspector Hosonaga! It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate- But what's all this about consular jurisdiction? Politics! We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who? Who's going to bring her to justice? A British consular court will hear her case somewhere far away, where our voices can't be heard. But why a consular court? I don't even know what that means. I'm stupid. Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our government's making secret agreements about our fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan. I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her. Why did she freak out so much then? I don't believe it. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously. all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. And we will make sure in this game. We'll beat her down. Actually, I don't know, I'm just joking. I don't really know anything. Yes, change is coming and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. Yay! This evening calls for a celebratory drink. But Professor... You're right, this is no time for gloomy faces. Let us drink! We should be celebrating Yunosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. Yay! In that case, might I suggest La Carnival? You just want our money! You're a detective, Hosonaga-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about details for now. To La Carnival! Will you accompany us, Professor? Of course! La Carnival's food is second to none. Am I paying, though? Who's paying for this? I shall go and attend to the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release. Oh yes, thank you. So Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Unless... Kazuma. Oh man, whenever he moves his face, you can see the outline of his nose right here change from here to here. That's so weird to watch. Yes, Yunosuke? I just wanted to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today. Ah ha ha ha! What a joke, I didn't do anything! You were the lawyer there, weren't you? That defense was all your own work. Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not so sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. That you're way better than me, Naruhodo. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, be serious. If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it. Yada yada. Oh no, not me! No way, ha! I just did what you told me to do. Sorry, what do you mean? That's the point. Listen, Yunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No, the ability to believe. To believe? To believe what? A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it. I'm human just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom you can really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you choose to believe in even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. Believing in your client? That's crazy. Just kidding. Look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stop believing in me. That's because you have way more experience than me, man. You never stopped looking for the truth, and in the end you found it. My life was on the line, man. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is... Ah! You're still here, are you? Oh, hi. Oh, Inspector Hosonaga. I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. What are rickshaws? Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah, yes, that too. Next thing I know, you'll have been killed. So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma. Professor Mikotoba. Susato-san, who acted as my assistant. Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. I mean, he provided so much evidence. It was because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. Okay. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. Finally, the end of the first trial! Nah, we should stop here because that was so freaking long. Oh my goodness. Do I have time tomorrow to play? Yeah, I do. I can play in the morning. Tomorrow! But maybe I'll play like a different game because I don't want to play this game too much. Wait, I could probably play tomorrow and tomorrow night. I'm gonna be a gamer. Thank you for watching, Crypto Spike, and for talking in the chat, making me feel less like I'm talking into the void. It's very nice. See you next time. If you're there next time. Goodbye.